I would like everyone to rise, and we have Brandy Gomez that will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. She's a proud veteran and elect chair for the Chamber of Commerce. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Brandy. Welcome to the 2022 Yucaipa Candidates Forum. This forum is sponsored by the Yucaipa Calimesa News Mirror and the Yucaipa Valley Chamber of Commerce. Special thanks to the City of Yucaipa for use of this facility. Tonight's forum will be recorded on the city's website, yucaipa.org, under the first news and information article. During the forum, it is important to hold your applause until the end of each session. The forum will begin with Board of Ed candidates, then Yucaipa Valley Water District, and will end with City Council candidates. Cesar Marufo will serve as moderator of this forum. Cesar?
Thank you. My name is Cesar Marufo. I will be moderating this evening. I'm a local business owner and a board of director with the Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to welcome you all in attendance, to those listening online, to the 2022 Yucaipa City Candidates Forum. A few housekeeping rules. I want to thank you in advance for silencing your cell phones, and we ask that you please hold your applause until the end of each session as to keep interruptions down and out of respect for each candidate. For each session, there will be a short break in between the forums to seat the candidates in their upcoming categories. And again, we ask for you to please be respectful of this time. I will introduce each candidate during their respective speaking times, and they will be seated in alphabetical order from left to right. A few explanation of the rules and what's going to be happening this evening. Each candidate will be given a 2-minute opening statement in alphabetical order from left to right. There will be 2 questions given to each candidate from the public that were chosen prior to this event, and each candidate will have 2 minutes for each question. Each candidate will then receive a 2-minute closing statement in reverse order from right to left, and they will be excused. As the time is coming to a close in their 2 minutes, candidates will be given a 15-second signaling time to wrap up their thoughts, then their mics will be muted. I'm sure we can count on each of the candidates to be respectful of this time. I'd like to invite up the Yucaipa Calimesa School District Board candidates up to the session now. Terry Boone, Lauren Hernandez, Bob Miller, and Heidi Strickwerda. The Yucaipa Calimesa Unified School District has 2 seats up for re-election. The school district is divided into 5 voting areas. Areas 4 and 5 are up for election this year. After 26 years on the board, Patty Ingram, the Area 5 representative, announced she is not running for re-election. So let's go ahead and begin with the opening statements. And as we discussed, we will be starting with Terry Boone from left to right. You'll have 2 minutes. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Terry Boone, and I've lived in Yucaipa for 29 years. My child went to public school in this city. I was also the team physician for Yucaipa High School for 21 years. I believe in family values and parental rights and bodily autonomy, so I am against the vaccine mandates. I am against sexualization of the children in all grades, and I only agree with basic sex ed. Sex is a mature act, and if you participate in this, you can get pregnant or disease. I'm an advocate for abstinence and protection. I am for classic education, a fair, unbiased, comprehensive view of our nation's history with excellent, rigorous AP classes and great opportunities for vocational training in high school. I am for safe and drug-free schools. I look forward to offering opportunities for participation in life skills classes also, such as budgeting, parenting, home economics, and things like food preparation and nutrition. I want to reintroduce future farmers of America to the schools and teach sustainability. I am not an educator. I am not an administrator. I am not part of the establishment. I am a patriot, and I want the American dream for our children.
Thank you. And let me clear up also, the district Area 5 candidates are Terry Boone, Bob Miller, and Heidi Strickwerda, where Sharon Banisher, who is unable to be here today, is the District 4 representative, currently running for re-election, and Lauren Hernandez is next to speak in District 4.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming tonight. My background, I have 25 years in the public school system. I worked in the San Bernardino City Unified School District, one of the largest districts within our county. I was in the classroom with the at-risk kids, and they've always had a special place on my heart. I then went on to the San Bernardino City Unified School Police Department and worked there as a dispatcher and as the campus monitor's main person. That gave me a really good perspective of what we need in our campuses, and that was 20 some odd years ago. So you know that today we have even more concerns that we need to address. I would really like to see that we have more involvement with our campuses and have a safer environment. I then went on to the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools, and I worked with all the districts within San Bernardino County. So I still have a lot of contacts and know what's going on at the different districts. Things that are coming over from the larger districts, I want to stop before they hit Yucaipa. A lot of people say that we're a small little town, and we are. We have a great small community, and we need to keep it that way. We need to keep our values in school. We need to make sure that we push back against the drugs and the bad environment that different types of learning could bring to our children, including like the CRT, even the mask mandates. We need families' voices and children's voices to always be first and foremost. When I've been out walking and knocking, I have a lot of people from parents, grandparents, football coaches. I've talked with teachers. I've talked with special ed students. I've talked with a lot of kids with the parents' permission. And they have voices, and I want to be that voice for them. We have a wonderful board of administrators, our superintendent and assistant superintendents, and I think we need a parent perspective, and that is why I'm running, because family and students need to be heard, and that's what's most important to me. Thank you for your time.
Very good. Thank you. Let's move along to Bob Miller.
Good evening. My name is Bob Miller, and I'm running for the Yucaipa Calimesa Joint School District Board Area 5. My campaign has support across many disciplines. I believe it's about finding solutions to the hard questions school boards are facing in many of our communities across the country. It is alarming on what we have heard the past couple of years in this country, which takes the focus away from students. We need to get back to focusing on students. I believe that we all do better when we work together. Even when we don't agree on everything, we treat others with dignity and respect. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, proud to serve my country. After that, I served as a police officer, rising to the rank of chief. I'm a retired police chief, and I'm a lecturer at Cal State University San Bernardino, where I teach management courses in the Public Administration's Master's Program, specifically leadership, emergency management, and human resource management, since my retirement 11 years ago. I have the experience and the ability to lead people together. My focus will always be on students first. That's my pledge. I will do this by focusing on these 4 areas specifically: school safety and security, parent voice and choice, sound fiscal policy management, and all students getting college and career ready. My experience and training in emergency management and leadership will help in providing a framework for school security that can be the model of the Inland Empire. My collaborative focus and willingness to work with students, parents, teachers, staff, public safety, and community partners highlights why I am the best choice for Governing Board Area 5. I have the support of the entire Yucaipa City Council, Sheriff's Employee Benefits Association, County Superintendent's Office, school board members, business leaders, San Bernardino GOP, and YCEA. I have learned in my many years of public service that in the end, it comes down to making common sense decisions that are legal, moral, and ethical, trust built by actions that are of high character and virtue in nature.
Very good. Thank you, Bob. Heidi?
Good evening. My name is Dr. Heidi Strickwerda. I'm running for School Board for Trustee Area 5 here in Yucaipa. I want to thank the Yucaipa Chamber of Commerce and the News Mirror for providing this opportunity for us to be here today. And I want to thank everyone here who wants to learn more about your candidates. Now more than ever, I believe that Yucaipa Calimesa Joint Unified School District needs an experienced educator who's caring and also has the skills and knowledge to ask those hard questions of why with the courage to do so. We have many students within our district whose needs aren't being met. We have many parents who feel like their voices are not being heard. We have people on both sides of the union who feel like they're not being heard as well. Collaboration is key. As a school principal, my work is collaboration. I work with all parties on a daily basis to ensure that our school provides the highest quality education that our school can provide. We need to focus back on fundamental education, reading, writing, and math. We need to ensure that our students are prepared to be productive citizens, to be successful adults, and receive the highest education to attend colleges like Yale or Harvard or any vocation of their choice. As an administrator, I aim to build hope with my community, and I want to do the same thing here. I've been a community member for 20 years. I attend Wildwood under Pastor Chris Fraley. Yucaipa is a beautiful, safe, and loving community, and I love living here. Don't you agree? So I ask for your support in this election, that we put students first, that we listen to our parents, and that we provide the highest quality education that all students deserve to be successful. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. We'll move along to the pre-selected questions, and we'll begin with Dr. Terry Boone. First question is, what do you think is the biggest challenge for our school district and why?
Well, I think that the biggest challenge is the state's mandates coming down for what should be taught. So my concern is making sure that the curriculum is reviewed top to bottom from pre-K through 12th grade to make sure that they're getting quality, rigorous education that will benefit them for their future life.
Thank you, thank you. Let's move along. Lauren Hernandez.
Same question?
Same question. What do you think is the biggest challenge for our school district and why?
Actually, there's two. First would be the curriculum. Have been allowed to start with the curriculum, the rewrite for the new social and history. And I think it's really important that the parents get involved. The parents used to be at the very end, so they need to be at the beginning, and the district is starting to do that. We need to be able to see everything, and then we also, part two, we need to make sure that the teachers are teaching what has been approved by the district. They could come in and kind of put their spin on it, and that's not what we need. We need to teach fact, and we need our students to be not intimidated by teachers' personal thoughts or preferences. Let's just stick to the basics and get our kids educated.
Thank you. Bob, same question.
Thank you. There's a myriad of answers that could be to this. Clearly, coming out of the COVID-19 crisis, we need to continue to work with families to get our students back to speed and back to grade level where they need to be. There clearly was a fall off during this time when we had unintended consequences for our students. But my main focus is school safety, as we've seen across our nation. And my experience in dealing with that, I think would be appropriate to lead our district in that with our staff. I think we need the right answers, tools for keeping students, teachers, and staff safe in the school environment. We should be aware of the national fentanyl crisis going on and be prepared ahead of time of some of the drug issues we're dealing with in schools currently. I believe in pulling school resource officers at the high school and both middle schools. It can be done. I did it when I was a police chief working with the school district, the city I was in. Some of that SR funding, if you look at it, it's about $168,000 total comp for an officer to work in the school. I think district wellness, I think fentanyl awareness is important, that we talk to parents about what's going on and let them know what the real dangers are. And I also believe in clean and safe bathrooms on our campuses. Keep it clean, keep it safe, keep it monitored, and do the right thing for our people. We also have to remember that there are some folks that are going to need some social emotional support right now. A lot of anxiety out there about what's been happening in the last couple of years. So I think you have to have programs in place such as anti-bullying, support in a robust kindness campaign, and programs to keep parents involved in the decisions that involve their children. I think it's important to have great technology in our schools because you see it in our cities and counties where we work currently, that we have to have the best technology to prepare our students for the future. And I also believe that the information we make decisions on should be data-driven, and the focus should be driven on the data. If you're doing your job, excellent. If we have to make adjustments, then I make decisions on my own, ethically, morally, and legally, as a board member, of how to direct staff to make them corrections.
Thank you. Same question, Dr. Strickwerda. What do you think is the biggest challenge for our school district and why?
Thank you for that question. So I see it in two perspectives. I see it one as an administrator, school safety, which encompasses also mental health. I agree very much with Bob Miller in this. I'm seeing so much issues with our students and our staff as a result of COVID, as far as mental health issues, which lends over into the same areas. Bullying's on a rise, child abuse is on a rise, and drug abuse is on a rise. So I've been doing the same thing, partnering with the police force within our county to educate our parents and our students about fentanyl. Fentanyl is being laced in marijuana. Students are using marijuana on a high level right now, and they're getting it, and they don't know what's in it. It's sad. It's a big problem. The school safety is also connected with the restrooms, talking with lots of parents in our community, what's going on in the restrooms. There needs to be a systematic process to ensure that students can use the restroom throughout the day without being beat up, without drugs being distributed, without fornications going on. All of that needs to stop. And it can be stopped. We just have to do it. I had the same issues in my high school. I had to put security guards there. I had to monitor only 1 or 2 students at a time, and that problem ceased. It can be done, but we have to do it. The other thing that I see with those mental health, all of it, and I'm just here to inform, right? I'm not here to scare anybody. But if you look at the data, suicide rose from 8% to 10% in 2020. So that's why I say school safety, which encompasses mental health, encompasses drugs, it encompasses our restrooms, it encompasses the fact that we need to provide a safe place for our students to go to school so that we can educate them.
Thank you. That will lead us into our second question. Again, we'll begin with Dr. Terry Boone. What type of support is available to students with mental health struggles, and how is staff prepared to handle students struggling in this area?
To be honest with you, I don't know because I'm not on the board yet or part of the school district. But I would need to find out what school counselors are available, how soon they are available, and what their training is for things like that, including probably there's going to be private counselors that are available and how quickly they can be rallied for support with the students and the staff. But in addition to that, we need to make sure that the parents are involved and are aware of what kind of counseling is being given and what's the problem with the children.
Thank you. Same question, Lauren Hernandez.
So I understand that we have school counselors at each of our campuses. I know during COVID, my daughter works at San Bernardino City School, and each counselor spoke and called every family in the district. When my grandsons were at home during the whole COVID time, not one counselor reached out to them. I would like to challenge our existing counselors to make sure that they are constantly reaching out to the kids in all aspects. If they're troubled or not, I know that they do offer programs at the school, and then they also offer programs, like Terry said, out into the private. We have an amazing neuropsychologist that has a practice at Grace Point, and she works with family and students. And I've worked with her repeatedly for the last 4 or 5 months addressing the issues at the restrooms. And it is causing a lot of anxiety. Kids are dropping out of school. They're not wanting to go. They're afraid to be able to walk into the bathroom because of the drug situation. And I have been challenging the board for months, since June to be exact. And it's finally starting to be taken into consideration. It's important, and that is a big thing. If our kids can't be safe on campus, and that's just regular kids, if a child has a problem and they're emotionally dissatisfied or afraid or scared, That's even a bigger problem. So we do need to address that, and we need to make sure that we have plenty of resources available to the children and their parents as well.
Very good. Thank you. Bob Miller.
Thank you. You know, it's a serious issue, clearly. When I mentioned the social and emotional support and what we need from a counseling perspective holistically to work together. Obviously, I'm talking about security in one vein, but also talking about the health of our children as they move forward through the grades. It's been a long time since I've been to elementary school, clearly. But I remember when I was dropping my kids off when they were little, or when I drop my granddaughter off now, I just want them to be healthy, happy, safe, and they're nurtured by teachers that are trying to teach them the best things in the world with good integrity, and that you feel safe that they're okay. But some kids aren't. Coming out of COVID, there was a lot of unintended consequences that people would have never guessed would have happened. But you have to address them. I think you need both components together, not only safety and security, counselors that we have on staff, or if we have to contract out some counselors, that's fine too. But I think there needs to be a double push to do that. Again, I'm going to go back to my school resource officer plan, because SROs have plenty of connections to help with them things also. And the connections they do with the schools, not only from getting intelligence about what may or may not be happening, or who's having a problem and who isn't, to maybe mitigate some of them issues ahead of time, it's risk management. The more time you spend, the more money you spend on trying to help kids, the better it's going to be off for them. And that is our job as parents and leaders. And I will be responsive personally to the community of any issues they want to bring up that they're hearing in the community about what's going on in our schools.
Very good. Thank you, Bob. Heidi.
Thank you. So when I was out yesterday, I spoke to a teacher, and we were talking about mental health, and she said, yes, we need mental health for our kids, but what about mental health for us? So the mental health issue is a huge issue for all parties. And I'm going to include parents on that as well, as parents have been struggling through COVID to keep their kids afloat as well. What resources do we have? Well, we have resources. We just have to know about them, and we have to use them, and we have to provide them in a systematic way. And we now have counselors at elementary school level. I was speaking to one of them when I was door knocking as well. And, it's amazing that we have that, right? But one counselor for 500 kids isn't going to solve any issues. I worked at Dr. Martin Luther King Middle School for many years in San Bernardino City. And if you know anything about that area, that is the highest area of trauma. High gangs, high drugs, high poverty. And what we did at that school was we provided a trauma-sensitive approach where we approach students with, instead of, what's wrong with you, to what's bothering you. And we built relationships. And we reduced our suspensions significantly from 1,000 in a year down to 17 because we build relationships with our kids. We provided a wellness center on campus where they could self-refer, where there was a counselor there all days and all times. The dean of students was in there, and we provided social and emotional support through resources that we tapped in within the city. Those are things that make change. The students started succeeding academically because their emotional and social needs were being met, and they were staying in the classrooms, so they were learning. And I actually wrote the Schools to Watch for the California Leagues of Schools grant because of our progress academically through that approach. Those are the types of experiences that I want to bring here to a Yucaipa School Board. Those are the experience and knowledges that I have that I can contribute to our society.
Thank you. That brings us to our final closing statements. And we will go ahead and start from right down to left. So Dr. Heidi Stricorda, you have 2 minutes for your final closing statement.
Okay, thank you. So as a community member for Yucaipa for over 20 years, mother, I have 6 boys of my own that I've raised. My oldest is an elementary school teacher. My second oldest serves our country in the Navy. I have a son that attends Parkview Middle School here. I also am a very extensive educator as far as my background goes. I have a double master's, I have a doctorate in education, I have 3 multiple subject credentials, single subject credential, and administrative credential. Education is what I know. But regardless of all of that, my heart is to do what's best for kids. And when it comes push to shove, I will always be the one to say or ask the question, is that best for kids? And so I ask for your support in this election where we have a pivotal time in our nation where our students are the ones suffering from all the disunity. We need to work together. We need to collaborate. We need to bring all your voices to the table. Parents' voices, students' voices are often missing, our educators' voices, our administrative voices, and come up with solutions for these real-life problems that are impacting our students' education, and ensure that they are learning how to read, write, do math, but most importantly, be independent, successful adults that can contribute to our society. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move along to Bob Miller, your final closing statement.
Thank you. You know, I had somebody ask me a while back, why are you running for office, Bob? You spent 30 years in, I think the establishment was a term I heard tonight. But I've always believed in service. I served my country in the United States Army proudly. I served my country and my community working as a police chief and from law enforcement all the way up, or from patrol all the way up to police chief. I spent a lot of time in detectives. I worked gangs for a long time. So I got to see a story I tell a little bit when I'm out on the trail. And it's like this: when I would maybe deal with a young man or woman that's involved in gangs, and we've dealt with their arrest and the issues maybe they had, I'd ask them very simply, I'd bring out a piece of paper and I'd say, what does this say? And they really couldn't read it. And I'd say, well, write me a sentence. Tell me a little bit, describe your house. What's your house look like? What's your street look like? Couldn't write a sentence that made any sense. And I would say, okay, how about math? Here's a basic equation. 8 times 7. Can you do it? No. And what that told me many years ago is if you don't have an education, you don't have a chance. And recidivism and what I saw over my 30-year career in law enforcement of people going in and out of the system, the answer is a great education. This district has some great schools. There's some great models that things can do well for our kids to achieve. To help them get where they need to be, it can be done. And there's no reason we can't be the model for that district. I plan on leading that fight no matter what. No matter who supported me, thank you for all your support. I appreciate it. I hope you supported me because you believe in what I believe in, but I make my own decisions based on ethical, moral, and legal principles that belong character and virtue, because I believe that's the way we should do. So I'll go back to my initial question. Somebody asked me, why are you going to run? Where asked good people should serve. I think I'm good people and my family's great, and I think I should serve. That's why I'm running. I hope you vote for me. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Lauren Hernandez.
I'm running for the school board because I'm retired, so I have plenty of good time now. I've worked in the school system, like I said earlier, so I have a lot of background. My biggest concern is our kids. I raised my 2, and they now have children here in Yucaipa, and I have an 8th grader at Parkview and a senior at Yucaipa High School, and I'm proud that they're good kids, but not all of our kids are good kids, and not all of our kids are going to go to college, and some of our kids don't even like to go to school. So we need to be able to support all of them. That's why my main thing is we need to be able to listen to our children, and they're all children. They're my children. Your kids are my kids. They come first. We need to make sure that they're getting a basic education, reading, writing, and arithmetic. A lot of kids are being passed along because they meet the bare minimum. Let's push them. Let's try and make them excel. Not all kids are going to college, so let's bring the trades back in. Let's get these kids involved so when they do graduate from high school, they're going to be productive. They're going to be productive citizens within our city and our community. We need to remember that as we get older, and I'm already there, I want to know that my grandchildren are going to be productive and keep the city going strong. It's all a family. The biggest thing here, and I love it, is one town, one team. Well, this is one family. It's one community, and we need to remember that our children, no matter what, must be first. And I'm going to champion that as long as I can, whether I'm on the school board or not. I really hope I can, because I would love to make a change. But I will continue to fight for our kids. I have children coming to me and telling me things that are going on at the school. And when parents don't feel comfortable, I speak up for them at the board. That's my job, and I'm going to do it no matter what. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And finally, Dr. Terry Boone.
I am running for the school board because when COVID hit and they shut down the schools, they got vaccine, once the vaccines came in, they said they were not going to let the students in school unless the students were vaccinated. And then we started hearing about the critical theory, which under this umbrella comes the critical race theory, the gender theory, and the concerns about the transitioning that might be entering our schools. Those are are enemies that could come in that were, as you saw in the past 2 years, very harmful to the children. So what I'm standing against and why my speeches are mostly philosophical is because of that reason. So I want to be among the leaders who will shine a light to our students, a ray of hope in the darkness of the past 2 years, a beacon of truth that will allow them to stand strong against the mass psychosis culture of critical theory that solicits violence, aggression, division, victimhood with its incoherent, inconsistent, illogical, and confusing beliefs. I want to show our children a beautiful world for which they will be good stewards and not fear a climate change for which they are not a cause. What God wants for his children is the same thing I want for your children. Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. I am not going to ask you to vote for me or to suggest any candidate in this forum today, but I will give you my thoughts on how I choose. Determine your priorities and values, and then choose the candidate who best represents those values and has the backbone to fight for them. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all the candidates here in this session. And I'd like to invite up, would your candidates please exit to your left?
Stage left.
And invite up Niles O'Hara. This next session is the Yucaipa Valley Water District. The Yucaipa Valley Water District has 3 divisions that have seats up for election. Division 2, Niles O'Hara is an appointed incumbent who is running and is facing Ken Munoz, who is unable to attend. The others who are also unable to attend this evening are for Division 3, Jay Bogue and Bassam Alzamar. The incumbent, Joyce McIntyre, who is unopposed, will not be attending this evening as well. So it looks like it is the Niles O'Hara show. Well, Niles, you've got 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Absolutely. Thank you. Again, my name is Niles Matthias O'Hara. I am the current director of Division 2 for the Yucaipa Valley Water District. I was appointed to fill a vacancy last July, and I have worked hard to represent my community. A lot of us like to, and I think any candidate can resonate with this statement, that when we get involved in politics, it's because we want to give back, right? Well, I like to take it a step further. It's not only I want to give back to my community, but make no mistake, there is regulations coming down from the state for us. The state wants to come into your city, our town, and tell us you're not doing good enough with your water. So we need to tell you how you need to live and how we need to regulate. I actively oppose bad ideas. As a construction stormwater expert, I work as an environmental compliance officer on large utility projects. I see firsthand what works and what doesn't. When I hear the talk and the notions coming from the state regarding water regulation, I know what's true and what's not. And I can tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, Yucaipa is in the crosshairs. We have always stood as a beacon of good governance, of good ideas. The cities around here, they frequently look to us as an example of how to do it right. We need to continue that. Each one of us here, we've already taken that step. Congratulations to each of you for stepping off the sideline and being here tonight, educating yourselves. That's the first step in how we do this. I represent conservative leadership. I believe that this town has a great opportunity in this election to perpetuate this great city that we have. I invite everyone to vote for me so we can keep Yucaipa the success story that it is.
Thank you. Let's move on to our first question submitted by the public. Our school and city council meetings allow public participation in person at their respective meetings. Currently, the Water District restricts the public from attending. Will you support and vote to change this policy?
Again, I'm a proponent of good ideas. Why do we have that to begin with? Well, again, the state has decided that there is a mandate in effect until 2024 to maintain the capability to meet on Zoom. There's this stigma that floats around with a lot of people who have difficulty grabbing onto what works. There's a lot of stigma that floats around with Zoom capabilities. What I want to emphasize to each and every one of you today is on Zoom, the public has never had greater access than they do today to participate in said meetings. With Zoom, you can dial in, you can video in from your house, from your car, from your work. You don't have to be restricted by just showing up to the building. I endorse, again, good ideas, common sense, like we were hearing earlier. What is important with this is that we convene every 90 days, every 60 days to talk about that. And it has been a unanimous vote from the board, 5-0 to maintain video capabilities. So I will continue to collaborate with my fellow board members and conjecture with the public to support the good ideas. And that's what that comes down to. If anyone, I'm sure this is a burning question a lot of us have, attend a meeting, share your thoughts. This isn't a one-way street. I am simply a representative of all of you here today.
Very good. Thank you. Question number 2. If we're in a historic drought, how do you feel this will affect our district, and what do you think we should be doing as a water district to plan for it?
What a fascinating word, right? We've heard this a few times now. We're veterans of a drought, the infamous drought. Again, yeah, if you look at it in a numbers perspective, like a lot of people like to get lost in, sure, we could say we're in a drought, but why isn't the state doing more to build greater delivery and storage capacity? This is a man-made problem that we're sitting in, all right? This is an issue that we are facing because of bad leadership perpetuating bad ideas. This director does not stand ready to allow the state to come in and tell you how to live your life. They're making it no secret that they want 55-gallon indoor use daily regulations. This director does not stand ready to just let them walk in and tell us how Yucaipa is gonna live. So with that, one of the best ways that we can continue to embolden and strengthen our capabilities is recycled water. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not know what recycled water is, please educate yourselves. Again, attend a meeting, come and learn more. By recycling our water, we are able to cut off our reliance for the bad idea jockeys up north, and we are able to strengthen Yucaipa's capability to act autonomously. And with that awareness at the end, and this is where I want to not just answer, I want to leave a challenge to each of you today. Educate yourselves on the reality of water. Educate yourselves on how it literally impacts you. Don't just listen to my words. Don't just listen to the words of the loud person at church or at the supermarket. Educate yourself. Talk with your families. Talk with your loved ones and your neighbors, and see what it is that you can do to play a part, because absolutely, I'm an Eagle Scout. I believe in protecting Mother Nature and Mother Earth. So let's all do our part. How about that?
Very good. You get your final 2-minute closing statement.
You know, when I was looking around, there's plenty of room up here. I want to emphasize that this, to me, you know, I work for you guys, right? I am a public servant. At least that's how I view it. Okay, this is a job interview for me. That's why I'm here. This was a priority item for me to be here. What is going on? How disappointing. I thought there was 2 of us in my race. How disappointing. But what I do want to emphasize again is I bring to the table conservative leadership. Again, I'm an expert in the industry. I could sit there and talk about, like a lot of people do, of, oh, I know the work, therefore I'm qualified. Now, that's a cop-out answer. Not only do I know the work, but it takes more than that. It's governance. I bring to the table governance. At the Yucaipa Valley Water District, we have a highly competitive, well-educated, and motivated staff of professionals. My role is to provide governance to that agency to empower the staff to do their jobs. We have the people on deck now. We have everything we need, Yucaipa. Again, my challenge to you, kind of like one of the candidates was just talking, educate yourself and vote according to the dictates of your own conscience. Stop standing on the sidelines. I'm tired of hearing people complain about the problems we have. Why is there still space in here? Why aren't we filling the lobby and the overflow? There's always more that can be done. My pledge, again, and I want to make this crystal clear, is I offer strong conservative leadership to this town. I offer leadership that empowers the professionals that we have to do their job. And with that, I invite you all to vote for me.
Thank you. Thank you, Niles.
Thank you.
I'd like to invite up the next session, which is Yucaipa City Council District 2, Nina Dragoo and Chris Venable. Well, welcome. We can go ahead and begin with the opening statements, such as we did at the last session. And we'll begin on our left with Nina Dragoo.
Good evening. I'm Nina Dragoo, and I'm running for City Council District 2. I am an accountant by profession and have retired from 40 years in business as a vice president, chief financial officer, and a member of the board of directors of a mid-sized corporation as defined by the IRS. I currently serve as church administrator for Grace Point Fellowship Church, responsible for the business side of that church. Locally, I served on the Chamber of Commerce Board for 3 years, and I co-chaired the Yucaipa City Iris Festival Soapbox Derby for 4 years. No accounting required there. As an accountant, I know these things: what a healthy balance sheet looks like, how to conduct and participate in an audit. I worked with Pricewaterhouse for over 20 years in audits and audit procedures, how to create and work with an operating budget and a capital budget, and the difference between the two. I also understand fund accounting, which is what the city employs. I believe my background and training would be useful at the council level. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move over to Chris Venable.
Hi, my name's Chris Venable, and I'm running for City Council District 2. I'm not a politician. I'm not. I've been in this district, in Yucaipa for 35 years. I moved here in 1986. I've worked with a lot of kids in this community, coaching and just being a mentor to them. I'm out on the streets, listening to people and stuff. I deal with a lot of public people, I've worked with the police department, and the fire department, and when I was talking to the police department, I was listening to their concerns, they'd like to get a canine unit in here. And I'm 100% for that, Let's get some of these people that are on our streets that are bugging us, and get the canine out there and let's sniff out what they bring to our city that we don't like, the fire department, their concerns is, we're starting to build and we're building and building and we're going over 2 stories high on certain things and stuff, and they don't have a ladder truck, so I want to be that person to bring in more money so we can get that going. I'm out on the streets, I meet people, you can ask, a lot of people in our city who know me, you know, I'm for Yucaipa.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's move along to the first question submitted by the public, and we'll begin with you, Nina. What are solutions to the homelessness in Yucaipa? What changes in current policy can be addressed to any incoming homeless to the city?
That's a large problem that Yucaipa did not create. It is something that we are inheriting. I think that you can deal with the symptoms of it. You can deal with the symptoms with the police force, perhaps with those aids for the homeless that would take that aid and do something useful with their life, a step up. But there are some out there that need help beyond what we can provide. And I think that we as a city need to work with those entities that are causing the problem. And that means that we're working with now I'm not saying the whole problem is the county or any other one, but they all participate in it in some way. But we need to work with the county. We definitely need to try to work with the state in trying to resolve why we're seeing these people coming into our streets.
Thank you. Chris Venable, same question.
Can you repeat it?
Sure. What are your solutions to homelessness in Yucaipa? What change in current policy can be addressed to any incoming homeless to the city?
You know, I'd like to work with the police department on this, you know, there's homeless that are coming in, you know, from the busload, you know, and with a canine unit, you know, sniffing out drugs and everything like that, you know, it's illegal here, and we don't want to keep or have any of our citizens here in Yucaipa to feel unsafe. So, you know, working with the city and working with the police department and working with all the churches and stuff to where we have something that we can provide for them, you know. But if they're doing something illegal in our city, you know, we need to take that into a whole different manner and stuff, you know. We need to either take them to West Valley, you know, if they're doing illegal stuff here, because we want a good, safe community.
Very good. Thank you. Question number 2, and again, Nina, we'll start with you. What do you believe is the role of city council in our community, and what skills and experience do you have that will be beneficial to that role as a city council member?
The role of the city council is to help provide those things that are necessary that families can flourish in safety, that businesses can flourish also, and even retiring people. It doesn't have to be families in particular. And the city has done a good job in that in many ways. And I think I just forgot the other part of the question. What was it?
What skills and experiences do you have that will be beneficial to you as a city council member?
I, as an accountant, am a good organizer. I can look at projects and different solutions and come up with a reasonable avenue for whatever is needed to address that project. That comes with having an accounting mind. We chart everything, and that's how we come to the bottom line.
Thank you. Chris Venable, I'll go ahead and repeat the question again.
Thanks.
Well, what do you believe is the role of the city council in our community, and what skills and experience do you have that will be beneficial to you as a city council member?
I think listening to the public, you know, getting out there and listening to what they want, you know. Where I live in a rural area, and I listen to the people that's been out there, you know, and what they want the city to be again. I say that again, you know. We used to be one of the best communities out there, and we're starting to slip, and that's why I want to come in there and be on the streets, listening to the public, to where we can make changes, you know, to better Yucaipa. What was the second one?
What skills and experience
sorry.
do you have that would be beneficial to you as a city council member?
You know, I'm a people person, and I'm a what do you call, I'm a problem solver. You know, if we're talking to the fire department, you know, and they're saying that we don't have enough funds, well, let's figure out how to get those funds here so we can facilitate them in a better way. They said that we have police, our fire people here for 20,000 people. Well, we have well more than 20,000 people now, and we don't have the funding to get that there. Well, let's get that, you know, and let's see what the public says about that, you know, to where we can raise money to bring them on.
Very good, thank you. Let's go ahead and finish up with the closing statements, and we'll begin with you, Chris, as your 2-minute closing statement.
Well, this is my closing statement, and I'm sorry. You know, I was talking to my uncle, and he says, you know, the definition of oh man, it just slipped my mind, of insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. And I feel that that's what we're doing. And I want to make that change. I don't want to do that anymore. I want this city, and I want this whole community to be back to where we used to be. You know, the high school used to work with the young kids in the baseball and the football. It was just, and the police department was out there with everybody. The fire department was out there. We don't do that anymore, you know, and I want to see that happening again.
Very good, thank you. Nina, 2-minute closing statement.
So I am running because I believe I can contribute to the safety and the service that provide a town that is beneficial for raising a family and conducting a business and for retirement. And that such a town, such a beneficial town, would support strong law enforcement. They would attract high-quality businesses that bring revenue and good jobs, and work to preserve local businesses and the jobs they provide. A good, beneficial town would work to maintain property values and to maintain the unique qualities that Yucaipa is so loved for. Things that we do, like the parks that we have, the concerts in the park, the city festivals, all of those are free. It doesn't matter what your economic level is, but all the people who live here can enjoy them. And that rural, small-town feeling with open spaces, that's why people come here. I'm told that folks that live, is it east of here, west of here, who finally can have the financial fortitude to do so, move to Yucaipa. Well, they're going to still come because they like it, like for the same reasons that we do. And the important thing is that it's controlled growth. It's not a matter of whether we're going to grow. We are, but we need to control it and make sure that it develops to preserve all these things that I'm talking about.
Well, thank you to the candidates. At this time, I'd like to invite up the final session for the evening, City Council District 1 candidates. This district is currently held by incumbent David Avila, who announced that he will not be seeking re-election. 4 candidates who will be running for this district are Matt Garner, Cheryl Lynn Long, and Mark Taylor. Unfortunately, Eric Sahakian is unable to attend. Bit of musical chairs. Well, as we did in the previous sessions, we'll go ahead and begin with an opening statement, 2 minutes each, and we will begin on our left with Matt Garner.
My name is Matt Garner, and I'm running for City Council, District 1. I'm married, I have 3 kids and 2 grandkids. I have a small business, and I'm a partner in a large building materials company, which does over $4 billion a year. I'm not a politician. I'm not a seasoned speaker. What I am is a staunch conservative Republican. I support our Constitution. I support our Second Amendment, and I'll fight hard to keep those freedoms. What I don't support is socialism. What I don't support is today's Democrats. And I absolutely don't support domestic terrorists that burn and loot cities. Yucaipa has some big problems with the homeless and the mentally ill. This is the #1 reason why I'm running. I also want to keep Yucaipa a rural city by having responsible building. Yucaipa is the second safest city in the county. That's great, but I want it to be #1. Yucaipa needs more police officers. We need canine units. We also need a drug enforcement program in Yucaipa. People are dying from fentanyl, and this is unacceptable. I'm 100% against raising taxes. We need to keep Sacramento out of Yucaipa, and that'll be the hill I die on. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. We'll move along to Sherilyn Long.
Hello, I'm Cheryl Lynn Long, and I'm running for City Council in District 1. I was born and raised in Southern California. I'm a native Californian. I attended Cal State Northridge, and I moved here to attend Loma Linda University. I worked as a registered dental hygienist for Dr. Mark Carpenter and then his daughter, Dr. Hernandez, for over 30 years, and Dr. DeVomp here at Den Artistry for 15 years, right here in Yucaipa on Yucaipa Boulevard. I've lived here over 30 years with my husband, who is a retired phone company installer, and he is also a reserve deputy with the Sheriff Rangers for over 27 years. So I definitely support law enforcement and safety in our streets. We've raised our 2 daughters here. They were born and raised here. I have a heart and passion for helping others. I began volunteering at Childhood Cancer Foundation, and then I joined the National Charity League with my daughters so that I could spend quality time with them while teaching them civic responsibility. I earned the President's Volunteer Service Award for volunteering over 500 hours to my community, and I did this several years in a row. Why am I running? I'm retired, and I really don't need to have this headache. But I love Yucaipa, and I want to serve my community like I have been my whole life. I'm retired now. My daughters are strong, independent women living on their own. I have more time to give back to the city that I love. I want to represent and serve the people in our city. I want to ensure that your voice is heard. I have walked and knocked on doors to meet you in person to see what your concerns are and how our city can help. I feel I can best represent you if I have taken time to personally meet you. The integrity of our future city council is in jeopardy. We are being asked to sacrifice our core values and rural lifestyle. As your elected council member to be, I want to make sure that city continues to grow wisely with consideration of all citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Taylor.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Taylor, and I was born and raised in the Inland Empire. I lived in both San Bernardino and Redlands. But for the last 22 years, I've lived in Yucaipa, the last 16 in the Chapman Heights development. I'm married and have 2 children, both of who went through the Yucaipa school system, and my wife is a current Yucaipa teacher. Since my kids have been young, I've always been a volunteer coach, both in Redlands AYSO and in Yucaipa youth basketball. I work in the technology healthcare industry. I've been doing that for 28 years. 15 of it, I worked in county government at the San Bernardino County Trauma Center, known as Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. I was a manager there. I managed 3 technical teams and was involved in many multi-million-dollar county projects that I saw from inception to design to procurement to implementation, all using taxpayer money efficiently. Some of you may have seen me on the streets of Chapman Heights. I volunteer almost daily, usually about an hour and a half a day, picking up trash carts, calling in graffiti, all of those things, all to try to preserve our small town settlement, keeping it clean and free of graffiti and vandalism. After receiving a community service award from the City of Yucaipa in October of 2021, I was inspired to dedicate more of my time to serving the city. I'm running for city council because I believe that the city deserves leadership that is representative of the people here, people like you and me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. We will now head into the first of two questions submitted by the public. Question number one, and we'll begin with Matt Garner. Are you in favor of the current Yucaipa Valley Wine Country Specific Plan, about 1,000 acres of undeveloped land in the North Bench? And what are your goals and vision for the development?
Well, I'll make this short and sweet. If it was up to me, I wouldn't have anything up there. I'm in ground zero up there. I really don't want anything, but if we have to have building up there, I'd like to have huge open spaces. The size lots, I mean, it's just hard. I just don't want to look at houses up there. But I mean, if we had to have size lots, I'm thinking probably half-acre, quarter-acre lots, or maybe a little smaller, but more open space.
Thank you. Cheryl Lynn Long, do you need me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Are you in favor of the current Yucaipa Valley Wine Country Specific Plan, which is about 1,000 acres of undeveloped land in the North Bench? And what are your goals and vision for the development?
My goals and vision for that development don't really matter. What matters is the residents in the area and what is in the master plan. So my personal feelings is, as a resident up there, I want the open spaces. I've lived up there for over 30 years and bought development up there. It is designated R1 in the general plan, which is 1 acre, 1 house. Somehow that has gotten sidetracked with the wine developers coming in and changing that to try to meet the RENA numbers and to satisfy the viticulture, open spaces, and trying to marry that with the houses density that we have to have. As a resident, and my fellow residents and many of us that live up there on the North Bench, we are opposed to changing the general plan. We bought there for the open spaces. We bought there because it was 1 acre, 1 lot, and that is what we want to keep it. If we can somehow manage to keep that and have the vineyards there, then I think we would be supportive of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Taylor.
Can you read the question?
Sure. Are you in favor of the current Yucaipa Valley Wine Country Specific Plan, about 1,000 acres of undeveloped land in the North Bench? And what are your goals and vision for the development?
So I would like to start out by just saying the current plan has been denied. All 5 city councilmen shut it down. There's been no revised plan that's come back before the board. I think it's something that needs to be looked at. I think vineyards can do great things to property value. I know also that people that live in that area are currently upset with it because they moved in there knowing, that the zoning was 1 acre lots. I would love to see a revised plan brought forward to be reviewed. I think we can find a happy medium. I would never allow anything under a half acre, and maybe there's even a 3/4 acre plan that we could look at.
Thank you. Second question, and we'll go back to Matt Garner. What is more important, securing new business and its growth, or preserving the environment, and why?
Repeat the question again?
Yes. What is more important, securing new business and its growth, or preserving the environment, and why?
Securing the business. I think we need to grow the business here so we can grow the revenue. I mean, I hate to say this, but I'm not a tree hugger. I think we need to, I think we need to have more business here for the revenue, period.
Thank you. Cheryl and Long?
I think we need both. We can't have either or. We need businesses, we need the growth, but we also have to respect the environment. We are surrounded by mountains and the open trails. I love our trails, I love our parks, and we have to respect that environment and preserve that environment for generations to come. It is not an either-or question. Businesses need to be cognizant and respect the terrain that we have and not come in and change that and jeopardize that for our future. We need the tax revenue for businesses, but we also need the open spaces and to respect the environment so that we can preserve that for our kids.
Thank you. Mark Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, I also believe there is a happy medium, and I don't feel it would be my decision to ever decide if something should be here or not. I want to hear from residents because I think that's what matters, not a city councilman. However, I do believe that we have taken a lot of recent growth, and I think we're at a point where we could maybe not take some for a little while. I mean, we have numerous new businesses coming in. Right now, some haven't even opened yet. We also are building a 3-story ambulatory center, which is going to be, something interesting in Yucaipa. We've never had, a tall, super tall building like that. So I'm for the right business coming as long as the citizens support it.
Thank you. And with that, we will head over to our closing statements, and we will begin from our right to left. And Mark Taylor, your 2-minute final closing thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I'd just like to close out by saying that I am a conservative leader. I'm very level-headed. I'll listen to an issue and understand it. And I think I've done a lot of that just getting to where I am now, where I have spent time meeting with current leaders to really understand some of the issues, to really get the background. In fact, some of the issues I've talked to them about, I feel like some of the conversations we had should be out in the public, because I think if the public heard some of the reasoning behind maybe a warehouse or the vineyards, that people would understand more. I'm technical. I've been in the technology industry for decades. I'm analytical. I can look at an issue and break it down and try to understand it. I'm dedicated to the city and making it a better place. I want to keep Yucaipa rural, clean, and safe for everyone. I want everyone to feel safe when they're anywhere in the city. I have government experience working with contracts, and that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheryl and Long?
I have decided to run for city council because I'm concerned that the integrity of our council is being jeopardized. Council members should have core values that are independent of each other and represent their district. To represent your district, you need to know your people and know the people that live there and know what their wants are. And as a public representative and as a council member, I need to represent you, not special interests. I have attended as many meetings as I possibly can. I've met with all our city leaders. I've met with Ray Casey. I've taken a tour of our city. I have researched and studied to see what makes our city so great. I have canvassed over 2,000 homes and talked with the residents here to try to get a feel on what matters to Yucaipians. You matter, and together we can make a difference. I need your vote. I am here to represent you. I want to ensure that your voice is heard. I am retired, and I have the time now to help our city meet the growing complexities of the future. I truly believe elected leaders should act as trusted public servants with people first. Let's keep our core values and rural lifestyle intact, what attracted us here and to buy homes here in the first place. I will strive to find common ground and work on solutions that are in line with the vision of our city and ultimately to benefit all of our residents. Together with your vote, we can protect the integrity of our city council from special interest and ensure that it remains a fair, honest, transparent, and independent governing body that serves we the people for generations to come. For more information, please go to my website and learn more about me and what I represent. That's CherylInlong.com. You can also follow me on social media. I would love to meet you and interact with you to get.
Thank you. And Matt Garner.
I would bring my business knowledge to the city, and I'd run this city like a business. My passion to build our police and fire, bring new ideas for revenue to the city without raising taxes. The city has gotten complacent. Our uptown area needs to grow faster. We need fresh blood and new eyes on the ball. We also need new ideas for revenue, and I'm your guy. If elected, I will fight hard for our police and fire. I will fight hard to clean these streets of the homeless, and most of all, to keep Sacramento out of Yucaipa. Thank you, and God bless America.
Well, thank you to the candidates. Well, again, thank you to all the candidates this evening and to the audience for your participation and involvement. Special thank you to the city, the News Mirror, and the Chamber of Commerce. And as a reminder to please educate yourself on this upcoming election and exercise your right to vote. Have a great night.